What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again. And finally, the XFL has been officially sold. If it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. All right, moving on. It has been made official by the judge proceeding over the bankruptcy court proceedings and all of that, that Alpha Acquico has been named the buyer of the official buyer. The XFL has been sold to them. If you didn't know, that's the name of the company for Dany Garcia, The Rock, and Redbird Capital that they have formed. That's the company, the group, the partnership that is buying the XFL. It is exciting. It is finished. It's final. And they're going to be getting the keys to the car, the keys to the kingdom, the keys to the love of football, for the love of football on August 21st. Guys, it's exciting. I'm excited. It went through. They got everything worked out with the creditors, and it's going through. Listen, I told you in the other video that this was going to happen. This is what was going to go through, and this is how things were going to go. They're going to work things out. They were going to probably spend a little bit more than what they had originally agreed upon, but things were going to work out. The creditors liked the company, and they liked the company buying the XFL. There was no qualms with any of that from the get-go, from the start. The problem is that the way that the language was written up for the purchase, the agreement was just for $15 million. And the creditors felt like that was too low. And the other thing was, and here was the big caveat with that. So if you remember that the XFL owed, we thought it was somewhere around $8.5 million. And looking at things in that with it, it ended up being a little over $9.2 million. So the XFL had about, like I said, we thought $8.5 million in liabilities of contracts and things that they still had to pay out for, not finishing the season, contracts to coaches, personnel, things of that nature, contracts that they had to continue to honor and that they were liable for. So what they ended up doing is that they worked everything out, that they rolled that $9.2 million into the bid. So they're going to go ahead, they're going to take it over for $15 million. They're buying it for $15 million, and that they are stating that they will go ahead and take on the responsibility of the $9.2 million, what are they officially calling it, in liabilities, and the contracts and that. So if they work out the contract and don't have to pay anything for it, great, then that's less. But the most that they will have to pay is $9.2 million. Now, the big elephant in the room is still the Oliver Luck, the whole Oliver Luck lawsuit on that. That has been pushed back. So we'll see here in about a week or so what's going to come out with that. And it looks like that nothing has changed with that. That was not written into whatsoever into this whole proceedings, and it looks like they're going to keep it out of that. So it looks like that's going to be an Oliver Luck kind of Mr. McMahon type of a thing. We'll see what happens down the road with that. And it looks like really as things progress and as we're looking at things, that Oliver Luck is no longer going to be part of the XFL. I think that that's a shame. I think that it's a loss. I really do believe that a lot of the success for the league and the legitimacy of the league really fell on the shoulders of Oliver Luck. He really was the person that really made people take this league seriously. That was a big part of his role, and he made a lot of really good deals with a lot of different people, and a lot of smart things, put a lot of smart things in place, and set a really nice foundation for them to go forward. I will say that if they were just going to completely redo everything, restart everything over, I would really want them to bring Oliver Luck back. But what he started and what he put in place, that foundation and everything that he set in motion, I really feel a lot better about them moving forward without him than what they would have had they had, the group come out and said, like, we want the property, we want the name, but we're going to go in a different direction with this. That doesn't seem to be what's going on. The other guy that really needs a lot of credit here is Jeffrey Pollock. as everything was just falling around with that, he really circled the wagons, had his group of people, and then, it ended up being like at the end, like 7 of them or something like that were still left employees of the XFL, and really try to put everything in and push everything into place to where they really can have a 2021 season. And so as you're looking at that, as we're kind of navigating the waters with everything throughout all this, yes, the Oliver Luck loss here, and with the way that things have transpired, it looks like that is going to be where we're at with things, that Oliver Luck isn't going to come back. I would put my money on it that he's not coming back. Whether or not he's going to get any money from Vince McMahon is another story. They might, who knows, they might settle for, some less money. I don't know, somewhere around maybe $5 to $10 million. I have no clue, but it looks like that part has passed us, and, that we're going to be moving on to something different with that. So that being said, I think all the pieces are in place, and I really think that probably Dany and The Rock are going to be taking those, those roles over. I don't really think they're going to be changing anything with, how football is going to be played, what they're going to be doing. They'll be making some tweaks here and there about, of little, intricacies, little things that, they might need to do differently. Maybe, just slightly adjust the kickoff with kind of the whole way that the, touchback system works and all of that, because that was a little bit confusing for some people, and maybe redo some of the, the point after try stuff, just because, you didn't get very many of them. The success rate wasn't really that high, but who knows, they might keep a lot of that stuff. But it's really going to be slight minor changes in the way that things come about with football purposes. So I don't really think you need really a football guy. Now, The Rock is a football guy. He's just not a guy that has a lot of experience when it comes to playing professionally. Played in college, was a decent player in college. Went and had a brief hit, a brief little stint there in the CFL. Yes, he has had some football experience, but he also, supports the game, has been around. He has a lot of business savvy. And so when you take his business savvy with Dany's business savvy and her love for football and her love for the XFL, it really was just reassuring and nice when she talked about things. And we'll get more into this as we move along, as we look at these studies and, these stories and the stuff that comes out and things like that, and really get into the nitty gritty of things. But overall, they're going to take over Oliver Luck's role, the role that he had. They're really going to boost this, use their star power, use their business savvy, and really build this league back up. And I think that they've got a really good shot with that. It looks like Jeffrey Pollock's going to stay on board, and they're going to try to bring as many people back as they can. We're going to have to wait till the 21st to really see how they're going to start to do that. So we've got some time to speculate that, and we're going to speculate and go down some of the roads and some of the avenues, because I really think that there's a lot happening here, and I think that they're going to be moving in some good directions. And there really are just a couple of key things that I really want to touch on that I'm super excited about that Dany's mentioned, and I think that we need to really look at. The first thing is that she said she was a fan of the XFL, and she knew that XFL fans were dedicated to the XFL, and she's not planning on changing what the XFL is. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. I know you probably didn't, Dany. Thank you for listening. I know you probably don't watch my videos, which is totally fine, but hopefully enough of you are getting the message out there, which I think we have. Thank you, community, to reassure that, listen, we don't need a minor league a tag put onto this. We don't need to be, the NFL's little brother. Just let it be football. Try to make the best football, best football league out there that you can, and then just build it up from there. And so as they're looking at, that's how they're going to do this, that we are going to be football. We are playing football. We're putting together a football league, and we're trying to make it fun and exciting in there for the fans, and sticking to that formula, to me, is huge. There's a big difference between that and trying to be, a place for the guys where they can go play in the NFL, because the XFL is going to be its thing. And there might just be guys who are going to be XFL players, which is totally fine. Let them be really, really good XFL players and make a really good career out of it and make some money, and we'll see where things goes. The PJ Walker, we'll see how things work out for him in the NFL. Jordan Ta'amu, we'll see how things work out for them in the NFL. But regardless, those guys could really have been stars as the XFL would have moved forward had we not run into everything and have a disaster of a 2020 year. So I think that they understand where things are at when it comes to the football side of things, and I think that they can really build it into something that I think they can have a real big following, and that especially with a lot of people that are fed up with the NFL, don't really like the way the NFL's been doing things, and I think that they understand that. They're not saying it on the surface, and they're not even throwing the NFL in anything they're saying, but the way that they're saying things and the way that they're putting out there, they understand that they have a group of diehard fans that they can really tap into. And the second thing is, and I think that this is where we are at, society has moved, and the NFL hasn't really figured this out, but they don't need to because they've got their big juggernaut, they've got their fans, they've got their stuff. Storyline-based things are just huge. And here's the reason why I think that her saying that is such a big thing. Vince McMahon, when he formed the XFL, he knew, and I've said this in other videos, you can go back and watch them. He likes to build brands. And I'm not talking about just this little thing. He loves to build everything around it. You look at his WWE network. He has built this whole kind of world around professional wrestling, and all of the shows that they have on there that he does, all of the production that they do, and all of the reality TV, all the stuff around that. The XFL with The Rock and Dany, and with all of their producing background, with all of their background in TV and movies, they understand that. They understand that people want content. They want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see everything that's going on. And so for them to understand that and really come out and say, they pretty much have said, yes, they're going to have shows like Last Chance U, and they're going to have, shows that are going to give us the drama behind the scenes and this stuff. But the other thing I think that some of us in the sports world are missing now, those of us with wives that that watch reality TV and watch the housewife shows and all different sorts of things like that. What's going to happen is you're going to start to see, you watch this, you're going to start to see that, yes, they're going to get the diehard football fans, and people that love football are going to watch the XFL. They give it a shot. They're going to be like, that's football. I like it. But their wives and women and that. And what's going to happen is that, husband's going to be like, I want to go to that, let's go to the St. Louis game. Yeah, St. Louis is playing the LA Wildcats. And they're like, oh, the LA Wildcats, that's like Josh Johnson, right? And husband's like, yeah. Oh yeah, he's their quarterback, right? And he's, you're wondering like, what? Like how and then you find out, well, yeah, he's on this reality show that I watch, of the XFL, football, and oh yeah, he's on there, he does X, Y, and Z, and he's the quarterback, but he does this, and you're like, oh, okay. And so she doesn't mind. She wants to go, yeah, sure, I'd love to go watch him play, and that, and then he's going to do he's going to be playing against this quarterback, and oh yeah, his wife, their family, they do, and the husband's just like, hey, we're just going to go watch football. But see, this is what they're doing and where they're bringing things together, and this is a whole aspect that they're not realizing, that the NFL is still doing old school with big school media and not understanding that social media, small time media, and really, really engaging with people online is really where it's at. And the XFL did a fantastic job with that. And I'm going to make even a side note here. I'm going to do CFL, if you're listening, once you get things figured out and you get your $30 million in the loan, spend some money and some time producing and putting together content that really your fans can grab on, that they can relate to, that they can interact with, that they can kind of put themselves and really humanize your players so that they're more invested in your game. And I think that that'll be a big deal for you, and I think it'll be huge. And that's why the XFL was such a success as what it was, and why it's going to be even more success, because they're focusing on, again, the storyline, what's happening, what's going on. People want to know. We gobble up all of that information. We want to know what's going on, And so to see that was huge for me. Now, let's go ahead and let's change things over and let's just look at things, because right now, the XFL, not only has it just been sold, but it is hot. It is the hottest thing right now. It seems like everybody and their brother wants to get in on the XFL action. And I'm not kidding. I mean, we're talking about celebrities. We're talking about, current players. We're talking, guys who want to come back in the league, guys who didn't play in the league, want to play in the league, former, college football stars that want to play in there. We got people who want to announce for it. We've got guys and gals that want to be sideline reporters. We even have cities that are saying, we want you to come here. And this is huge. So let's start off with Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson wants to come back. And he's even kind of, hinting at maybe let's move LA over to Oakland. Maybe he knows something that we don't. He's talking, in his tweet he put out there that, he would love to come back and play for the Wildcats, in Oakland. And he tweeted that out. That would be cool. And listen, Josh Johnson was just getting started. He was just getting healthy, and it was so nice to see him really play well the last game that they had. And I was really looking to see how that team was going to progress and go forward with that. So who knows? Looks like he's a guy that we'll definitely see back in the league, and I think he's a great guy to have there. He's a guy with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge that he can really impart on the players around him. So I think that that's huge, and maybe we're getting a little insight to what might be happening. Maybe an LA move, which I think really should happen. LA really needs to find another location, and I think that Oakland might be the best place for them, because I think that an expansion team would do really well in San Diego. But the thing about San Diego is I think San Diego could stand on their own if you move a team there. I think you could take the fans from LA, and the fans that were fans of LA would easily transition over to San Diego. So I don't have really, over to Oakland. So I don't really have any issue with that. I think that they could get two city fan bases kind of into one on that. Again, talking about LA, Winston Moss said, yeah, I'd like to be back. And he talked about kind of, his interactions with The Rock, and, how he thinks that this is a really good thing for the league. And yes, he would like to come back. And I think that it would be great to bring him back. I think, early on, you could definitely tell that he was just getting his feet wet as kind of the head coach. And he kind of had not only like a head coach position, but they also kind of had a little bit of a manager type of position as well, kind of almost like, like what you would, like general manager, kind of working with personnel and things. And, I think he made some mistakes earlier on, but I think, as they kind of started getting in the season, he really started to find his own and really get into that leadership role that he needed to be, and really figure out, he kind of figured out how to navigate things as things went on. And so I think he's going to be a great coach in the league. Bring him back, the LA team. I think that suits him well. Bring the guys back, put them back there. Now, so those are just a few, and there have been more people, but those few get us excited there. Now you've got a couple of people out there that really want to do some announcing, and I think you've got Pat McAfee, who really wants to be up in the booth, and I think he would do a good job up in the booth. He's a little raw when it comes to things, but I think that as you kind of, he works with things, he's gotten a lot better in that way. I don't know. You see, I like Pat McAfee. I don't know necessarily if I want his antics constantly all the time in the booth. I think it's good for a piece, here or there. I know he didn't really like that field analyst being there doing that. That wasn't really his thing. I kind of get it. ESPN really didn't really get the whole field analyst. I think that Fox did a much better job with it, I thought that they gave us some really nice stuff from Fox and the way that they did their stuff. So I think that if he could tone it back just a little bit, I think he actually would be really good in the booth. And then Renee Young, tweeting out, and who knows, maybe it's because it's just the WWE community and she's part of that, and so is Pat McAfee. Tweeting out, yeah, should I get my headshot my portfolio ready and things like that. She would be a great one to have. She understands storylines. She understands where to put things. She's been with the WWE for a while, and the WWE really, really does work with their talent. They really do make their talent know exactly all of the ins and outs, what's happening, where to go, what to do with things, and that they really, really work with perfecting their talent and really working at their craft. And she's done a really good job with that. And I think that she would work out really, really well on the sidelines. She would understand what to ask, how to ask, and then how to follow up and how to really talk with the players and be there, because she's used to that. That's what she's used to. And actually, I think that, bringing in some of that type of talent, I think really would have helped the WWE had it, especially for the on-field type of stuff, getting, right there in your face, that whole reality TV aspect of things. I think that would have really helped the XFL. The problem was that they were really trying to distinguish themselves as a football league and legitimate, and you start crossing anything over there, I think would have really kind of hurt them in making them kind of hokey. But I think now bringing some of those people over, I think would be just fine. And then the last thing is that the city of Birmingham really, really wants an XFL team. And I think that would be another place that'd be a really good place for an expansion team. I really think they need one more up in the Midwest, though. Somewhere around Ohio, Indiana, the Michigan area. I think they really need a team in that area. But Birmingham is really, really gunning for it. And you had William Parker, who is the president of the city council there, really wanting to bring them home. They really want to have them there. And part of it is, it's a couple of things. It's not only do they really want a professional football team there, because right there, Birmingham is a big, big football town. Alabama's huge football. It makes sense. It would bring in a lot of revenue to the city, and that's where things are at right there, because people would be coming back into the city, and during a time period where they really don't have anything in the stadium. So for them to really get consistency there in their law of the year, and that would be huge for them. They did a great job with following the Iron, and the Iron, they were a good team. They didn't really give you a whole lot of excitement, but the fans were into it for them in the AAF, and I think that the XFL, with just how exciting the XFL is, and high-powered offenses and things like that, it would take things and make it even more higher, to where I think that they would have done much. They will do much better than the AAF do if they end up there. And they really are trying to set things in motion. I mean, William Parker's out there. He's like, yeah, I've been contacting them. I've been trying to get with them, and we're going to try to get them here and that. I mean, they're serious about this thing, and I think that that's good. And that just, again, goes to show you just how excited people are about the XFL, and really what we as fans really did to legitimize the XFL and really just show people just how good the XFL is. So it's all because of your guys' support out there, supporting the XFL, being there for it, and doing what you've done and sticking with it through and through, guys. We got the XFL back. That's pretty awesome. We'll get to all of the details of what everything means, all of the other stuff and kind of what they're coming out and saying, and I'll give you my thoughts on all the different things. We'll break them down in other videos. But I just wanted to take some time and guys, let's just sit back and enjoy the victory of getting the XFL back, because it was really all of us fans that really got into it and really supported it, that made it happen. So thank you, guys. All right, you guys, stay safe and keep up the hope. Have a good day. Bye.